Kelly, founder and chairperson of Artemis-8 here at Antidote with Dustin Gibbens. And Dustin comes from 20 plus years of experience in the industry, leading one of the strongest extraction teams here in Northern California that we've seen. Coming together and doing a type 7 hydrocarbon and ethanol extraction here.
Dustin Gibbens, one of the co-founders of 965 Solutions and Family First Farms. So we're a vertically integrated company. We've got cultivation up in Mendocino County. We've got 70,000 square feet of canopy. And we do manufacturing and distribution down here in Santa Rosa. We were the first type 7 in city limits. And we also do white labeling and co-packing for other brands.
Hi, I'm Lisa Salacies. I'm one of the founders of Artemis-8 and also the CFO. My specialty and my passion is providing the financial tools decision makers need to be successful in evaluating, implementing, and developing strategy.
It's Yarrow Kubrin. I'm one of the founders of Artemis-8. I specialize in land use, permitting, things that have a real estate overlay. I'm also a second-generation cultivator. I help businesses to stress test ideas and then focus on processes that scale and organizational development. You know, a lot of companies talk about being vertically integrated. And then when you drill down and talk to them about what licenses they have in the supply chain, most companies aren't as vertically integrated as they say, or they drop that term. You guys are actually vertically integrated. Tell me a little bit about the process and the timeline that it took from the moment you guys decided you were going to find a facility till the moment you were able to open up the doors and actually run your extraction machines.
It took 23 months from when we purchased the building till we actually were generating oil. So, in that time, a lot happened. We had to design the building, the permitting process. Actually, one of the toughest processes was the planning, and getting everything approved through the city prior to building. The build out went fairly quickly. That was like 8 months, and then just the regulations and getting our type 7 that worked out really well because when we initially bought the building, we bought it with a type 6 zoning clearance, and so we took kind of a calculated risk and built out as a type 7 facility with the belief that the city was going to eventually go with a type 7, and so our build out took a lot longer, especially the planning and permitting part of so we own, our farms. We've got a 561 acre ranch up in Mendocino County, and then we have this here is a 7,800 square foot manufacturing facility. We own the facility, and we own all of our equipment, and
That's great.
How long did it take you to get the conditional use permit?
The CUP process was fairly quick, much quicker than the building process, but we actually had an almost completely built facility to show the Planning Commission, and so it went well. We worked with Claire Hartman and Scott Moon, the fire department, and it went great. I would say the total CUP process took about 4 months. Yeah, but we had most of our work done. The building plans were there. The equipment had already been selected. We had worked with Chris Witherall from PSI, Pressure Space Safety Inspectors out of Colorado, and they did our field certification. So we had all the necessary paperwork in order already.
Actually, I want to ask a follow-up question about that. Having a good relationship with your local authorities is so critical. So, what kind of tips could policymakers learn from your experience? Like, what were some of the things that worked really well for you with working with local government? What supported you?
So, you want to get someone that is a local lobbyist or someone that that interacts with the government on a daily basis. So we used Nick Caston. He's Golden State Government Relations, and he provided a level of communication that we didn't have prior. So like with our CUP, he brought each of the planning commission in one by one, and I was able to teach them about hydrocarbon extraction and how we can do it safely and what the facility really does and how it enables us to protect our employees.
With that extended timeline, I'm really curious how you managed the funding during that timeline. What was your approach to getting through that?
Yeah, it took everything we have. We're a bootstrap company. There's 4 of us. We've take very little for ourselves and reinvest everything into the company. But it's been tight. But I feel like we're in a great position now, and we're ready to do business.
So did you have to go through any fundraising rounds, or are you all self-funded then?
We're primarily self-funded.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
we've taken on a little bit of loans against some of the equity we have in our. So we own, our farms. We've got a 561 acre ranch up in Mendocino County, and then we have this here is a 7,800 square foot manufacturing facility. We own the facility, and we own all of our equipment, and
That's
yeah.
great.
Attending a conference and maybe what's a good shorthand for me to be able to filter some of this? I see so many new, especially in extraction. Oh, look at our cool rotovap that we do over here. That's a 1 liter rotovap that's probably not appropriate. Or hey, let's look over at this piece of equipment that has no track record whatsoever. If I'm just new to the cannabis industry, I see the opportunity and I really want to take advantage of it. How can I vet some of that stuff just on the fly? I'm maybe not the most complex answer in the world, but what are some things that I can look out?
First off, if you're new to the cannabis industry, I would say hire a good consultant, somebody with a lot of experience. But other than that, you're going to want to make sure that all your equipment is listed. It's covered by an NRTL. So, and the easy one is UL listed, but you can also use QPS or any other nationally recognized testing laboratory, Intertech, ETL. These are all companies that peer review all this equipment and certify that it's safe for your employees and for the conditions for the zone.
I've done a few of these labs across the nation, and usually locating a compliant space is very difficult. For instance, another state that I've done work in, 1,000 feet from any school, church, park, if it looks like a kid might be able to see what you're doing, it's a no-go. So how is the inventory here in Santa Rosa?
Yeah, so our attorney at the time had a really cool map of the city that showed all the setbacks and, it laid everything out. And so we had some really defined areas to look for real estate. So that was very helpful. So, our unlicensed real estate assistant here, Mr. Kubrin, he got us into this facility. We looked at a few. One of them was really close, but it abutted a residence. And so that would have been a longer process. We would have to start with a CUP in the beginning. So we went with this facility, and it's worked out perfect.
Getting this facility back in, since I was involved in it a little bit, back in August of, I think, 17 was when you got into contract. And probably didn't know at that point that it was going to take you 23 months plus to be able to get your certificate of occupancy. And yet in that period of time, I watched and had a small role in helping your company to divest of smaller cultivation properties and to acquire a larger, more consolidated cultivation property. So in spite of not knowing how long your burn rate was going to be before you were able to open, you still consolidated your cultivation holdings, you still sold real estate, you still bought real estate. As you've done that, what have you seen? Because you've probably become relatively familiar with that part of the process. There's no cannabis business without some real estate affiliated with it. And you guys, unlike most vertically integrated companies, you own all of your real estate. You don't have a leasehold interest. We're talking fee simple absolute here. A mortgage, and it's yours. And so in that process, what have you seen both in Round Valley, Covelo, Emerald Triangle, but also here in Santa Rosa? And Do you feel like it's easier now because there's more clarity and we have final rules and regs and 64 is passed? Or do you feel that it's harder because there's more people participating?
So as far as the availability of real estate, yeah, I mean it's definitely much more difficult. It's anywhere that especially in an area like Santa Rosa specifically, they're so. It's a perfect location, right? It's all of the Emerald Triangle funnels down through here. There's a great local government that really they want to see the businesses thrive here, and that's super unique in California. There's a few other small localities that are pro cannabis, but we've got a great opportunity here, and so we want to do the best we can, for the city.
Sounds like you guys have a unique ability for foresight and to plan correctly, to build a facility, seeing the future, seeing where it was going to go, where you wanted to take it. Same thing is true of the real estate before it happened. What are you doing in your lab that you think is really cutting edge, that is the next thing pushing in your lab right now?
So a few things, distillation tech is growing rapidly. It's a lot of advancements. We've tried to, stay on the forefront of that. The chem tech, that they have great customer service. It's a workhorse of a machine. So as far as our distillation, that really works well. For our extraction, for the hydrocarbon extractions, I think one of the most interesting things we're doing is just the post-processing, where we take our unprocessed sugar and we can do separations. We can separate the THCA from the high terpene extract, and then that provides a value add on both sides. And so if people want really high cannabinoid contents, we can go with a crystalline. And if people want just a really flavorful 100% cannabis extract, we can add in the HTE. And then, one of the fastest growing and largest segments really is vape carts, because people want the ease and, simplicity of just having the cartridge to immediately dose whenever they need to. And so that HTE is really going to play an integral part of a lot of our upcoming products.
The change or the evolution in your thought process from being a white label manufacturing facility to still a white label manufacturing facility, but also a facility that has developed its own brands and identities. And tell us a little bit about that journey.
Sure. So, the original intent was to, not just build the facility or have the distribution, but to have that pathway to retail, where we do have our brands. We have our flower company that produces the raw materials, and we wanted to do it right. And so first we needed the ability to manufacture and distribute. That way we control our own destiny. No one can put us on the back burner. And so, initially we wanted, we saw the market, we saw what it needed. We know it needs hydrocarbon extracts. We know it needs distillate. We know it needs, all of these value-added products. Our plan had always been to have a concentrate brand, but I didn't want to put the cart before the horse and, have a brand without the ability to manufacture our own products.
Don't you mean the cartridge before the horse?
There you go. It's clever.
So in developing that brand, I mean, you guys are from the Emerald Triangle. Is that important in the way that you communicate that with your brand, and where do you think the public is at in terms of valuing and understanding the benefit of products that are either primarily or entirely sourced from the Emerald Triangle?
So yeah, I mean, everyone knows the Emerald Triangle. They know where the best cannabis in the country comes from. There's been a lot of lifelong operators up here that, you know, develop genetics that are specifically tailored to this environment, you know. And so the fact that we are located in the Emerald Triangle is going to be very beneficial, especially going forward. You know, it's the Napa County, Napa Sonoma of cannabis.